What inspires change? What motivates us? It's what's inside that moves us. What moves you? Get the Scion story at Scion.com.
The Urgent Care Advisory Board met for the second time since the implementation of Bill 19 into Public Law 60. They are tasked with submitting a plan to the legislature that details where the facility will be located and how it will operate. At the first meeting about 2 weeks ago, the board agreed that the urgent care facility will be housed within the four walls of GMH, though they've narrowed it down to two different areas. At today's meeting, they could not agree on which one, the expanded emergency department or the temporary ICU. Board member Dr. Chuck Tanner argued against placing it at the ER, saying it would not be the solution GMH is seeking in the long run.
To kind of continue is really to separate the urgent care from the ER. Totally different. So you can't turn anybody away. So we didn't know if that was exactly what we wanted to do. Whereas if you have a separate urgent care, you're not subject to EMTALA, and so you can run it as a separate business.
EMTALA, or Emergency Medical Treatment and Labor Act, ensures public access to emergency services regardless of a patient's ability to pay. By law, anyone who walks into the ER cannot be turned away.
For those patients that come to the ER that need to be redirected, based on the intent of the law, away from ER, do we march them through the building? Do we send them out around the building again to get here? I mean, I'm just thinking about, again, operationalizing what we're going to recommend.
In having this urgent care, you have the option of not seeing a patient?
Yes.
Because
you're not subject to EMTALA. If it's a separate...
No, I understand, but then they can walk to the emergency room.
They could.
I understand, giving it its own identity and what that means. On the other side, I think we've got to weigh what that's going to mean against folks deciding to make that a first-line clinic. Why should I go to public health when I may be refused, when the doors may be closed? Why do I go to FHP if I can't afford it and I'm going to be sent away? I'll just go to GMH where they can't turn me away. And I'll just show up at the ER where I know they can't turn me away. So you see what I mean? I mean, that's what we're facing now anyway.
Board members went on to discuss the possibility of marketing this separate urgent care from the ER that would educate the public about the kinds of services they provide. It could help steer non-emergency patients away from the ER, which some board members noted was the intent of the law anyway. But when it came down to a non-binding vote, the board members erupted into a more heated debate over the urgent care's location.
Just raise your hand.
It's part of the ER.
Who feels,
you say part of the ER?
who feels it should be part of the ER?
In the ER annex.
Can you clarify that? Because let's go back to clarifying just the facility. So part of the ER annex, is it a separate thing, or is it go through the ER, then they just push you through the annex after you get triaged through the ER? I don't understand. What's your thought?
Yeah, that's what.
Which one are we
Basically,
voting
you
on?
come to the ER, you get triaged. They tell you that, I got a cough, I got
You
a...
can't
Do that, Joe, because as soon as the patient presents at the ER, EMTALA kicks in. What's the difference between FHP there, IHP there, and your urgent care right here? It's closer.
No, my point is, if we send a patient and not evaluate them and they end up in urgent
You
care.
can't send a patient from an ER to an urgent care.
No, a triage.
You can't. As soon as they present in your ER, EMTALA is in effect.
I'm saying
That's my
we're
question.
triaging people to urgent care versus
Yeah,
triage. You can do that.
No, you can't.
Yes, you do.
Where are you going to...
You have initial evaluation. You have
Then you have a fast-track ER. You do not have an urgent care.